Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are going to witness. Business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve Ramona and Ray. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast. Steve Ramona.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. I am fired up to have you join us today. It's because we dedicated this podcast exploring the idea of doing business and living life with a purpose of having a servant's heart. Because we know when you go to work in life, you could truly make a difference. And I think everybody listening, you do want to make a difference. And we also created the show to motivate you, inspire you, and educate you so you can make an impact in your world. To make that impact, we believe that if you learn how to serve yourself today and serve others and create impact today, it'll be a game changer for you. Because what it's all about, we're all here together. We're not solo, but we're here in it together. And if you start today, guess what? You can do it tomorrow, the next day, and the next day. Now, today's episode is proudly sponsored by our incredible partner, Pantheon Alliance. It's an exclusive community of high-income, very successful business owners and entrepreneurs from very diverse industries together building a community of thought leaders to make an impact and change in the world. For more information on Pantheon Alliance, just reach out to me and I'll get you connected with all the right people. With that being said, impact and change. I talked about that through my monologue. I think we all can do it. My guest has been doing it in a big way from two ways, from fitness, martial arts, and speaking. Not that you have to do fitness or martial arts. I wish you would, but the speaking part, anybody really could do. And he teaches you how to do that, educates you and mentors you. With that being said, Sifu, welcome to the show.
It is an absolute pleasure, my friend.
Yeah, it's why is speaking and communication so important?
Oof. Because we do it. The problem is that we think we're doing it properly.
Yeah.
Yet we're not getting the results we're looking for.
That's powerful that you said that, because there's a lot of people think they're doing it right and they're pitching people right away and they're not leading with building a servant's heart. What do you see a servant leader looking like?
Somebody who wants to help, somebody who wants to make someone else shine. And it's taking the spotlight off them to put it on those who need it most. That doesn't mean we lessen what we need, but if we have it, we should share it.
Spotlight. That's very cool. On the other people. I like that. It's a new way of talking about it. Diving that a little deeper, because some people, I don't want to spotlight this person or that person. Why would they? Why should they, or why would they?
Well, consider you and I are both faith-based, and what God has given me, I am super grateful every morning. I wake up in gratitude. Besides my prayer, the next things I say is, I thank you, Lord, for the gifts you've given me. And then I go through so many, I could be there for days, right? But then the next one is the one that really touches my heart. And I say, please allow me to share these gifts with my brothers and sisters so that I can make your reality for them come true.
Share is a key word there. You don't tell people. You don't force it on people. You're not aggressive with people. You're sharing like in a partnership.
That's right.
What is the most, not powerful, but the most beneficial thing, that's the word I was thinking of, when somebody public speaks?
Oof. Here's the thing. Just because you're doing public speaking doesn't mean you're serving others. You may just be babbling on. So when we decide that we want to get in front of other people, it should be to serve their needs. A lot of people get on a stage and they want to serve their own needs. But if they're not truly, and I mean truly, helping someone else in the process, they shouldn't be on stage. Public speaking is to help other people become better along the way. That the message that we're delivering impacts them in so many ways, not just in your pocket.
I love that. Love that. Because I talked to speakers on and heard a story where a guy spoke with some very, billionaires, successful people. They never talked about themselves. It's always about the audience. But they went to the back door, sat at the bar, and deals kept coming to them. They didn't talk about themselves, but they still had abundance. And that's what people need to realize. You can still talk about other people when you're speaking and engage in them, help them, support them. Right. So you founded Speaking Prowess, which I think that's a very cool name.
Thank you.
What inspired you to do that?
My whole life has been about communication. Early on, I realized, by no fault of my own, when I was dropped into this country, because I'm Colombian, I speak Spanish. And when I was dropped here, if you will, I thought everyone is going to speak Spanish. Was I wrong? And the crazy thing is that no one in my new school knew English the way I thought English was meant. Oh, we're going to America. They're going to speak English. Oh, just another way of speaking Spanish. But so I thought that their English was going to be easy for me to get, yet it was so difficult. So no one really spoke my language, and yet I did not speak theirs. So communication hit home immediately. So body language was a huge component of how I started to communicate in order to get what I needed and to maybe not be made fun of as much. Because, oh, trust me, I was made fun of left and right. Bullying was very powerful.
Yeah. They're kids. We'll just leave it at that. It's just, it's a tough thing. So in speaking, and you said that body language, what are some tips? Because I know people tell, I want to be a speaker. I want a speaker. Not everybody should be a speaker. I'm just going to put it out there right now.
Yes.
But not everybody could be a plumber, lawyer, da, 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 da. It's not a negative thing. It's just, what is with speaking prowess? What are some of the body language things that people need to work on to be a better speaker?
Well, I love the analogy that you talked about different plumber, electrician, and so forth. But, not every doctor can be a brain surgeon. It takes a special skill. Not everybody can be a good plumber. They can be a plumber, but they can be a terrible plumber. Somebody can become a mechanic, yet they leave bolts out. And then you drive along and your tire falls off. So the whole thing about communication, it's that everyone, it does not matter if you're a janitor or if you're the CEO, you can improve on it every day. But if you're not practicing your communication skills, we're missing something. Can you imagine any professional player in any sport not practicing? How fast they would lose their career? But yet, even as speakers who've done it for many years, they're telling the same story. Same story. I know that every day we get a chance to tell a different story because every day is not cookie cutter. Every day we get a chance to be inspired and to inspire. So we need to pay attention to everything, to the beauty around us, the bad things around us. Everything creates a story. So when we consider communication, it is a powerful tool. We should definitely have that in our tool belt.
Yeah. And I got to add to that not practicing. I know a number of guys, the best talent in the world, baseball, football, and basketball, never made it to the pros. They should have. And people told them they would. They had all the time, but they didn't want to practice. They didn't want to learn. They didn't want to grow. It's a great lesson for anybody in life, let alone somebody. I mean, I think one guy probably lost $100 million. A lot of money because he didn't want to practice, didn't want to grow.
Mm.
You talked about speaking regards to it just slipped my mind. Let's jump into because I want to talk about your max martial arts because
Sure.
it's such a component to who you are and why you're a better communicator. Talk about how that works.
I teach people how to hurt other people, but the real lessons I teach them is how to communicate themselves out of a situation.
Mm.
I was a bouncer. I was a professional bouncer for 5 years. I never hit one person, yet I was attacked multiple times. And the only reason is because I was able to see their body language. I was able to talk to them and give them the option of going home or going to jail. So when we can communicate, it's the words we use and how fast can we even think on our feet. So practice allows us to do that. Now, I would not recommend anyone just become a bouncer without having the skills put forth. I love to fight, and but I also don't like getting hit. So therefore, the practice, just like communicating, is an everyday occurrence. Every day I wake up. Every day I go to sleep. The in between is what makes me a better person. And I need to improve every single day.
I'm glad I don't have to be a bouncer to be a better communicator because I don't think I'd be a good one. Maybe I would be. And I love your thought about getting hit. And this isn't real life audience. We're talking about business. You get hit all the time. We're not saying to punch you, but when I played football, my coaches said, if you don't like getting hit, quit right now. And probably martial arts is probably pretty similar. I don't know, but you're shaking your head. And again, I love everything you do, Sifu, is anybody's business, an entrepreneur, a founder, CEO, people starting out. This all works with all of them, right?
Oh, without a doubt. It all starts with a thought, an idea, a concept, but then we have to put that into action. So our actions today could make us millions tomorrow. But if we don't take those actions, we can't complain, can we? If we didn't take the actions.
Sifu, that's $1 million comment right there, audience. Action's so big. We could do all the practice, we could do all the training, do all the things, but if you don't play in a tournament, you don't go play the sport, it's worthless. Something about you what I think is amazing, because I'm a podcast host, done a lot of shows. You have 6 shows. What was the inspiration, motivation to do that? What are you receiving from them?
Wow. Great question, because I ask myself that all the time. So consider 6, right? Not 1, not 2, but 6. But it did start with 1. It started with 1. And the reason for that is during COVID, we were told to shut down. I didn't lose a member at all. And I know many schools had to shut down entirely and they lost their whole business. The reason I didn't lose my members is because I communicated with them. I let them know ahead of time, hey, we have to close. It's Monday, mandatory. By Wednesday, take tomorrow off. By Wednesday, we will be on 7 classes, 5 days a week. And it was full classes. It was teaching them how to do things differently, having them understand that what I'm doing is mirror image. So what you see me doing, I'm doing opposite of what you're doing. And all of a sudden, the trust was built, right? Besides the trust that they saw me in person. But then what wound up happening is I said, so many people are on Zoom all day long for work. The kids now have to go to school at home in front of a computer. Why don't I make it fun? And so with the kids, it wasn't just punching, kicking. Let's do 20 punch. No, let's do punching. Okay, now I want to give you a challenge. Go get me a red crayon. And they would scramble. Whoever comes first gets a patch, gets a this, gets a that. So it was the excitement that I built. And so I said, what do I do for the adults? So for my adult black belts, what I said to them is, on Saturday morning, I want to do something for you guys. Let's call it Coffee with Sifu. And that is no uniforms, no punching, no kicking. We're going to sit down, get a cup of coffee, get a tea, whatever you want. And you can ask me any questions. We can have open conversations. And it went into, hey, how about this technique? I went into teaching them about body mechanics, all these different things. But the cool thing is, it was supposed to be an hour. Sometimes it was 2 because they wanted more and more and more. And I said, guys, we got to go. We'll see you next week. And so I said, let me ask you guys a question. Do you think other people will benefit? They said, absolutely. So I did my little research. But let me not forget about the parents, right? So Saturday night, I said, parents, you've been on Zoom all week. We're going to do a cocktail party. And we can talk about your week. We can talk about how you hate Zoom and how this is happening and this is happening with your life and your kids and all this. And it was incredible that people allowed me to go into their homes. I allowed them to come into mine. And we would just have a cocktail. Some people didn't drink. It was having a water, having tea, whatever it was. It didn't require you to have a cocktail, but it required you to come in and just be you, be relaxed. So with that in mind, I said, oh, wow, this would be a great show for everybody, not just kids, not just martial artists. I was going to do a martial arts podcast, and I started listening to a bunch. They died after 20 episodes. And I said, oh, and everyone I heard, and then I would reach out and go, hey, love your show, what happened? Oh, life got in the way. You know what got in the way? How much can you talk about punching and kicking and choking somebody out? So that's when I said, hey, I've been a coach my whole life. When I was in high school, I used to coach. I used to go to a different high school and coach there. I used to coach people for free before school opened. I used to teach them how to swim if they didn't know how. And everybody's always asking me, how do you do this? How do you do that? And I've taught so many different subjects. And I know so many coaches, all the way from celebrities to coaches in the UFC, coaches in athletic fields. And I said, that's who I need to talk to. So I started looking into that. And most of the shows out there were on coaching specific sports. And I said, that's not what I want to talk to a ballet coach. I want to talk to a swimming coach. I want to talk to somebody who teaches basketball, somebody who teaches somebody how to get on Broadway, somebody who teaches someone how to write a book. And that's where my first show started. And from there, it just kept going on because the conversations were great. And it went from 1 show a week to 2 shows a week to 3 a week to 4 a week. It was the same show. And then I said, whoa, I need to add more shows. And I used to edit them. And I did that. And then the power of going live happened. And that's why I was able to put more shows on the docket, if you will, because I no longer edit any of my shows. If somebody doesn't speak properly, that's on them. If somebody's background looks bad, that's on them. So therefore, I no longer am responsible for their behavior or the way they communicate. So that's how I was able to do those. And believe it or not, I'm considering a 7th.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. You're an overachiever in the best way possible. And
Thank you,
I was
sir.
taught in the very beginning from my mentor was don't worry about the show. It's the content. If they can hear the content, you're good. And that's exactly what you said. So you're out there thinking about a podcast or a podcast host. Yeah, you can have it edited and all this fancy stuff. I don't. I've done 540 shows. I've not edited, I think, one because there was a technology glitch. But besides that, it's just this conversation. Like I said in the beginning, motivation, inspiration, and education is so important. We're coming to the end here, but I want to learn about Codebreaker Technologies. How do you use that for your coaching and your speaking prowess?
Codebreaker is pretty cool because what really captured me about Codebreaker also considered bank, is that people matter, right? So if we're speaking to a person, but they're not understanding what we're saying, maybe we're not speaking their language. Maybe they want the details, or maybe they want action. They don't want to sit there and read through 30 pages. They want the cliff notes. But if we don't know who they are, how can we communicate with them? We're either going to bore them or we're going to frighten them. But if we know how they communicate, the personality, who they are, maybe they want more specific. Maybe they want the details later. Maybe they want to know what's it going to do for them, not the details right away. But some people, they want the details first, and they want documentation after documentation, and it takes them 2-3 months to make a decision. Yet there are other people, if you talk to them in that way, they'll be gone in 20 seconds because you're not saying take action now. So a lot of times we're leaving money on the table because we're not communicating properly to an individual. So if we can find out how they can function both mentally, aggressively, calmly, we don't know. But there's a cool thing about this whole thing. There's these cards, right? So we share these cards with them, right? And I think you know about the cards. And we say to them, there's 12 attributes that every one of us has. Would you mind just putting them in order? And when they put them in order, boom, that tells me what matters to them first. Are they nurturing? Do they, if you're talking to them and you're trying to sell them something, they really don't care about the money as much as, is it going to help? Is it going to help my family? Is it going to help other people? And then there's other people who say, I'm not interested in other people. What's it going to do for me? I want to go fast. I want to get the Corvette. I want to go. Red is my favorite color. Get me on that jet right away. But other people, they don't want to be in the limelight. Yeah. They want to be in the back. Those are our lawyers, our different type of people who are very technical and they want the details. So that technology allows me, when I communicate with a potential client, to know how to present to them. And that has been a game changer. And it could be a game changer for anyone listening.
Yeah. And also, too, when you start working them with the client, you know about them now, it makes your work much easier, I would assume.
Without a doubt. Because you know what makes them, what's their trigger points, if you will.
Right. Right. That's so powerful. Well, we come to the end. Time flew, and I knew it would with you. This is a powerful man audience. We'll get his contact information in a moment. But I like to do a little improv at the end just to have a little fun to get you know you a little better. So you have a reservation at a restaurant, table of 4. You've got one of the seats. In the other 3 empty seats, who would you invite, dead or alive? Why would you invite them? And what food would you order?
I love it. Great question. I love Indian food. To be honest, I love all food, even though it doesn't look like it because I work out every day, but I love to eat. Mahatma Gandhi would definitely be there. The way he was able to convince so many people to follow him was incredible. Because his mission was bigger than him. You're going to have to bring an extra chair to this table.
Let's do it. It's your table.
Steve Ramona is going to be there because he's an exceptional human being.
God bless you.
I would love to have my great-great-grandfather there. I never met him. The only thing I know about this man is that he lived to be 113 years old. And he had his wits about him.
At 113?
at 113,
Holy
still had his
moly.
wits. Here's the cool thing. My goal is to kick his butt and live longer than him, right? So this is why I do what I do every day, because my actions today will reflect my tomorrows.
Yeah.
So far I have 3 people at this table, me being one of them, you being the other, Mahatma Gandhi, my great-grandfather. That's 4. The other one, it's a great question, but I would love to bring me a week before I die.
Okay.
So I can ask me, what could I have done better?
Yeah, I've asked this question about 300 times. That's one of the best answers. That I'm rarely speechless. You got me speechless. That is so interesting. Because a servant's heart, and audience, here's how he wrapped the bow on. That's why this guy's amazing. Sifu is one of my people I look up to, because you see what he did there? As a servant's heart, our goal is, at least I believe, and I think you believe as well, is to build a legacy. I'm going to support here. I'm going to serve here. I'm going to serve here. By the end of that time, what does your legacy look like? What are those credits in your movie screen? And you get to look at that a week before your memorial. That's absolutely powerful. Holy moly. Interesting. Okay. Now, I know people are excited to know more about you, how they can get a hold of you, how can they support you? How can they do that?
Sure. I am on LinkedIn. You look up Sifu Rafael. Facebook, if you're a Facebook person, I am Sifu Rafael G. And you can always reach out to me. I am a public speaker. I do travel all over the place. And I think one day you and I are going to have to share a stage, my friend.
Love that.
You can always reach out through my email, Sifu, SIFU, at speakingprowess.com. It's that simple. I am
I'm going to tell you,
accessible.
yeah, he's very accessible. He's been accessible doing. He's a busy guy because he's got 6 shows, going to be 7. So just from there, he's busy, but he's open, and that's why he's so successful. I tell people all the time, when you serve, you will be successful. You just don't win, and that's okay. It might be tomorrow, might be next year, but when you start winning, you win with your heart, not with your bank account and not with your ego. You win with your heart, and that's what Sifu does. So reach out to him, especially if you want to learn more about speaking in public. It's so powerful. A TEDx talk, things like that. And I want to finish with this. I always tell you guys and girls to subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's not for subscribers. I do have thousands of them. I'm very happy that they're there. But there's another powerful reason. You can find them easily. Sifu gave you so many great tips today. It's easy to go right back to the channel because you're subscribed. Click on it and learn. And fast forward. Me and Sifu don't care if you watch 5 minutes, 10 minutes. If we're educating you, motivating you, inspiring you, and making a difference with you, that's all we matter. But here's the more powerful reason. Now you have access to his show, and you're out there talking to somebody, and they're like, God, I need to speak better. I need to communicate better. Well, guess what? I can introduce them to you to Sifu, but even better, just take this podcast and share it with them. Hey, watch Sifu for 15 minutes. You tell me if it's somebody that could help you. And I guarantee you, it's the greatest gift in the world, these podcasts. With that being said, me and Sifu want to thank you all so much for watching or listening to our podcast. We'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.